Start now.
All right.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to March. We're in March 2nd,
Wild.
2026. February and January flew by like that. It's wild. We talked about that last week that, this year, I mean, springtime is here. Angela and I were talking before most of you guys jumped on, and just the days are getting longer now. The sun is going to be out there for a bit longer. And I think this weekend daylight savings to
Yeah.
where we're getting that hour. We're getting one more hour of sun. Angela is somebody who I found out does 4 miles of walking each weekend. And then during the daytime, or at least during the weekdays, you try to do something similar. Like you try to do that much as well.
I try, if at all possible. I do every morning, but now I'll be able to go in the afternoon, and I love that.
Good for
It's
you.
it's
You
for
already
my
are.
health and my mental health both.
Well, both of those are doing better than mine. So congratulations. You've got me and probably a lot of us beat as well. You don't need a New Year's resolution to do that. You just do it. So
I just do it.
good,
I
good.
started consistently walking more than 15 years ago, and I have not stopped.
So the repetition, repetition, repetition.
And
It's
consistency.
something that has stuck with you, which is great. We've got two chapters that we are going to go over today in The Power of One More by Ed Mylett, as Kyle's note taker lets us know that she is taking notes for her right now. And we're going chapter 16 and 17. Chapter 16 is One More and My 11 Leadership Principles. Chapter 17, One More Degree of Equanimity. And I know that there's a lot of people who see that word equanimity and wonder, A, what is equanimity? B, is it equanimity? Is it equanimity? A lot of different ways you could pronounce it. So I know there are a lot of people that look at that saying equanimity. Like I think you probably have an idea when you see the word. You probably have a general idea of what it is, saying it out loud, and part of that repetition, getting to know that word. I'm curious how many of you will end up using the word equanimity at least once, either this week or this year. That's going to be my goal for everybody.
The new
Try using that
SAT
word
word of
in
the
a
day.
sentence once this year. But we have Angela Trevino here. You can see it right there on her nameplate that's on the wall at her office. She is our Bakersfield manager. Angela, good to see you this morning. I'm excited that some people probably, you've been on a few of these, but now you're spotlighted with us. You are the Bakersfield. How long have you been the manager there in Bakersfield?
6 years in January.
6 years in January. You were a sheriff's deputy before this?
I sure was
How many years
for
were you sheriff's deputy?
almost 20.
Almost 20 years. Wow, that's incredible. Good.
It's all I knew, and I figured out how to do real estate.
Wait, you did, and now you did it great too. But beyond that, you became a manager. You became a great manager. I mean, consistently, you are, you and Sandra, but you especially too. I mean, you're in top 10 lists across the country for Century 21 in recruiting and bringing people over to your office. I think that's a testament to you. So you've learned in those 6+ years how to do so much more for the company, for the office. So you're somebody that I look at and say, hey, she's doing an awesome job, and she's got
Hang
people
on one
walking by
second.
the
I'm here by
office.
myself, and I have to accept somebody's closing.
Oh, that's what, hey, that's okay. That's a good thing. That's a good problem to
they're
have.
they're running early this morning. Thank you.
That's a good problem to
Sorry,
have.
you
So whoever
guys.
that agent is, if you're not on, well, you should go to the office anyways and go pick up your closing date. What's so when you became a manager, and I promise we're going to get to these chapters right now, but I want people to get to know a little bit about you real quick here. It's also going to help me too. But when you became a manager, you moved from the realtor to the manager of the company. What's something nobody told you about the position that you had to learn? Like, oh, this is what I've got to do on a regular basis now.
um, be a therapist.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
have never had I did 20 years in law enforcement and never had so many people cry in front of me. But internally, I am a mom first before I've been anything else in my life, before
Yeah.
I have been myself, before I've been anything. And so I think my momness radiates with people and they feel comfortable with it. And
Yeah.
I love that. I get so much gratification and the self-worth, um, and learning about people. I'm a person that wants to know how many kids you have, why you have so many kids, or don't have kids, or where you met your partner, or any of it. I love to get to know people.
That's awesome. I feel like I should be. I'm pretty much an open book. I'm very outgoing. I like to get to know people. But I was at an event recently, and my fiance Amy, she was asking me about these people and people that I've known for a couple of years. But I never really asked them questions. We have conversations, but I don't ask them the pointed questions to really get to know them. She knew more about one individual in 3 minutes just from asking those probing questions than I have in 3 years. It was insane. But
That's
that
where I
goes
thrive.
to the wanting to learn about others and you as a leader, that's one of your principles that you've had to come about. So chapter 16 is it's titled One More and My 11 Leadership Principles. Angela, talk to me about these 11 leaders. There's 11 on there, and
There
you
is
have that
11.
list in front of you, and you wanted to focus on a few of those ones. What do you got?
Certainly, I'm going to go through and tell everybody what the 11 principles are, and then go back and highlight the ones I think as relates to who we are and what we do.
Let's hear it.
So there's 11, and the first one, and he highlights it the most in this chapter, is becoming evangelistic. Number two is listening and observing. Number three, wise leaders build other leaders.
Mhm.
Number four is love, believe in, care, and show people how to live better. Number five is repetition, 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 and it says that. Number six, be generous with recognition. Number seven, have a cause, crusade, and a mission. Number eight, be authentic and humble. Number nine, create a culture. Number 10, give people the resources they need to be successful. And number 11 is to build a movement.
And you've been building a movement down there in Bakersfield for a while, so I feel like that's one you've already done. We don't need to talk about that one. But some of those that you said you have highlighted from those 11. The
Yes.
first one is
First
to
one is to
become an
be
evangelist.
evangelistic.
Yeah.
And what he means by that is to have passion and service and enthusiasm in what you do. So, I mean, whether that's building your home, building your net worth, or being evangelistic and telling everybody that you sell real estate.
I think when people hear the word evangelist, you think of Tammy Faye Baker. At least I do. I think of
Yes.
Tammy Faye Baker. I think of her makeup, and Sandra gets that because I can see her laughing in the
Yes.
background right there. Sabrina, you are way too young to know who Tammy Faye Baker is. But I bet, Carmen, I see on the screen as well. Tony, you probably know who Tammy Faye Baker is. But
But if you
Tammy
don't know,
Faye
you should look her up.
it's look at the makeup tips from Tammy Faye. They are wow, but they were on our TV screens on a regular basis. It was Tammy Faye, it was her husband Jim. Evangelism was something that I think a lot of people, they hear the word evangelist and they think Billy Graham. They think of these preachers, and it's not necessarily about religion. It's just what, people kind of relate it to because of their television sets and because of what's been, told to us over the years from that. No, evangelism is just that, like you said, it's to have these beliefs, to have this enthusiasm,
Passion.
this passion. Yeah, exactly. And so for agents, it's a belief in the market. It's a belief in the process. It's a belief in your clients that you have and that passion that goes with it because they want to see that to you. If if you're going, Angela, if you and I are going heads up, if any agents are going heads up on a listing appointment, and I'm sitting back and I'm reading some numbers, but talking like this and like, well, I'm going to get your household. But you can already tell my passion isn't there. The belief in it isn't there. And then you come in the room and I'm going to be blown away immediately.
Fire and brimstones.
Exactly. Exactly. You're bringing the pain, you're bringing the thunder to it because That's the passion. That's what people want to see. This chapter, we talked about this beforehand. This chapter, it does focus, it seems like a lot of like the management side of it, and how to relate that to agents. And, I see it as leadership. We've talked about that through the last few chapters as well of, we are leaders in this industry. And I think each agent that's on here, each agent that's just waking up at Monday morning to be part of this, congratulations, you're a leader. You're somebody who should have that, that
You're already doing more
evangelism.
than your neighbor.
Exactly, exactly. So it's going to, serve the larger cause and make you that much more of a better person. You need to be more consistent in that, execute that. Yeah, evangelism. It's when I saw that word immediately, no joke, in my head for the last 2 days has just been Tammy face face. So I want people to know that, it's more than that. It's like you said, it's about that passion, that enthusiasm, that belief in things, which hopefully everybody, we want everybody to have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell agents all the time, especially the new ones, when you get your business cards, give them away like they're on fire. Get rid of them. Don't, I mean, yes, they cost you money, but honestly, how much do they really cost you? Get rid of them.
Exactly. Guess what? If one of those works,
Yep,
is that
you
is
paid
that
for
worth
them.
it?
Hmm.
Exactly. So that's a good, yeah, that's a good message right there. Give it away like it's on fire right there. That's You're becoming an evangelist that way, you're passing it out.
Yep,
You're trying to service people. So that's a good call because like I said, what's a business card going to cost you? It's not going to cost you much. The
not
cost of
much.
that versus one transaction. Congratulations, you paid for boxes upon boxes of business cards. So you'll be okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anything that, I mean, we can talk about evangelism for a lot longer, but the next one that you had there
The
was
next one is
listen and
listen and
observe.
observing. Help yourself, your fellow mates, your agents, and your clients identify what special gifts and skills that they possess and they have. So, find a person's true gift means to find a person's true gift means understanding them fully,
It does, and you mentioned right there
wants and needs.
in our getting to know you part right there of just you didn't realize how much of a therapist that you
Hmm.
had to become. So you're constantly listening and observing because you're doing that to people who are going to walk through. This is agents, this is clients, this is outside of the business. I mean, can be
Yep.
taken into the personal realm as well of listening and observing because I believe previously, we talked about that emotional quotient, the EQ, that people have, and to really, really see, people can say things, but you can already see it may be different. So even if you're hearing somebody, they're telling you something, but their face is saying something different, their body language is saying something different. So you have to do both, listen and observe. I think they kind of go hand in hand. On a phone call, you can hear somebody, but you can hear that enthusiasm or their non-enthusiasm on that. So I think you touched on it. As soon as you said therapist, I had that written down here for listen and observe because our agents have to do that every single day for their clients. They have to listen, they have to observe what they want, what they need to get them where they want to go. It's going to help them fully understand who they're dealing with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to know what your clients' wants and needs are.
Yeah, so as a manager, and then for everybody else here, as a leader, when you listen and observe, what is there, especially you've read people, you were sheriff's deputy, you've had to read people, and you could probably is that kind of like a special skill of yours? Do you feel like you can read people like as soon as you're like in the room with them, or do you need a little bit more time?
A good majority of the time, yeah, I can tell by their body language, their nonverbal cues, how confident or inconfident they are.
Yeah. So for agents there, I mean, it's especially for you, like if you're dealing with somebody that you're observing, it's just kind of like they're slouched over, they're hiding in the corner, which happens. A lot of people
Hmm.
don't want to be the one with their hands up. They don't want to be the ones chosen or selected. But as agents, like we need to be out there in force. So how do we draw those clients in, or have you had to have conversations to build confidence in people that you have there because you're listening and observing and you're seeing, there's something missing there. So you have to
Oh,
be the one.
yeah, actually, Sabrina will know who I'm talking about, but I do have a young lady here who has been afraid to have conversations with people. Like it hurts her, it pains her. And
Yeah.
so for the first few transactions, she would come in and she has closed several now. And it's still her pain is still there, but it's getting better. But for the first few transactions, she'd come and sit on my desk and talk to her client on the phone on speaker, and we would mute and I would tell her what to say. And I would like sit up straight and talk.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm giving you the words, but you need to deliver them with confidence.
Hmm. Yeah. It's part of the role right there. And now that person has blossomed.
Yes,
And that
absolutely.
really is. And I think that's a really, really good example of you as a leader. And to agents who are out there, or they're listening now, or are going to listen here in the future. I mean, that's what I know each one of us, we enjoy that. That's part of our passion. That's why we've taken this role and taken this position to help you succeed.
I get more gratification from watching people go from 0 to 100 or 0 to 1 than anything else in my daily role here.
And that, I mean, we don't have that one circled here, but that does go straight into the third one right there of wise leaders build other leaders right there. And that's what you're doing. You're doing that without even realizing, without even recognizing that. It's just become kind of, it's a natural aspect of your position, but also of who you are as an individual, as a mentor, as a leader, because the same thing, that gratification, nothing makes me happier than seeing that person succeed. And we want everybody to succeed. And we'll do whatever it takes. I mean, the shirt's off our back, pretty much. I mean, I know you'll go the extra mile for people just in something like that. That's a great example of, showing how you're going to help that person because your role, your position, your job, and your passion is to build these other people, whether they're leaders or not, but you're still building these people because that person is going to, right now, again, she's a leader in the office. She's a leader in sales. So she's building herself up as that, and she's going to be able to pass that on to somebody else because you helped her with that. She's going to take that knowledge, remember it, and you already were a mentor for life. You gave that life lesson right there, that professional lesson that's going to go such a long way. I've got countless examples of that for people in my career, and I know each one of us do because it just it also just makes me feel good. Like that's that internal smile, that internal happiness that
Yeah.
makes me enjoy
I think sometimes
doing
we
what I
don't
do.
realize that even our children are watching us do that. So, I mean, my son has been working with me since he was in a infant seat. And
Hmm.
so he knows now when I'm on the phone that he doesn't, interrupt, and he's always known that. But he also sees that on the weekends, just Saturday, I had to show 6 homes. We can't do anything until we go to work.
Yeah. I I love it. And with us, we're working. Our work doesn't stop. If it's a day that
Never
ends in Y, guess what? We're realtors during that time. Our agents, our clients, they don't
on
understand.
vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everybody knows, once you go on vacation, you're going to get busy. And if you're not busy, plan a vacation. You'll
You'll
get
get
busy.
busy real quick.
It's just going to work out that way. It never fails right there. So I'm glad those ones actually did kind of tie in together. The next one that you had circled was, and this talks about, your daily walks, your
Oh, repetition.
repetition, repetition, repetition. Talk to us more about that.
Yeah, well, Ed says in the book that spoken repetition of the leader's dream, vision, and goals create healthy organizational cultures.
Hmm.
He says speeches that are memorable and easy to understand resonate most with people. A leader
Yeah.
needs to create a team where every member can repeat back to the leader the vision and the goal, whether that's your own or the company's or your family, whatever it
Yeah.
is, you need to be able to repeat it back. And I think we get a lot of that same thing from our parents too, without even knowing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we live like our parents and we repeat the same mantras and have the same goals essentially as our parents. We
Mhm.
either want to be like them or completely opposite of them, which can happen sometimes.
Part of that repetition, it's practice makes perfect.
Yes.
It's never going to be perfect, but we tell people and we harp on everybody, um, read the contracts, keep up with the industry, look at the MLS, see what's going on, know your numbers on that. The more you do it, the repetition that start will just become part of your daily routine in that, and you will know more than the person next to you. But the only way that you're going to do that, A, you have to commit, you have to want to do that. You have to want to be the leader in the industry. And, it's not, sometimes it's mundane, but that repetition, that's going to make you that much stronger. And before you even realize it, you'll have these numbers spouting off. I mean, I'll take it back to the Karate Kid. It's Miyagi and Daniel-san right there. Daniel-san had no idea what he was doing when he was waxing on and waxing off. Miyagi did. And the next thing you know, it was just a natural skill to where he's doing that. He's doing this self-defense moves on that. So that repetition, it just builds these just core innate abilities within you. And the next thing you know, you're making sure you're up Saturday morning, you're walking 4 miles, it's 6:30. And if it's 6:45 or 7 o'clock and you haven't started yet, then you're thinking, oh no, what
How
happened?
am I going to get it in?
Exactly. And you know what it means to you. So
Hmm.
it's important to you. So you're going to do that, right? I mean, that's part of the repetition. It's you want to do it and it becomes something that you have to do. It makes you feel better.
Yep.
Repetition, repetition, repetition. And
And
then we've got the number 8 circled right
yes,
there. Which
be
one is that?
authentic and humble.
Tell
I
us
think
more.
that goes through and through that you have to be humble for your people that are around you, whether you're in a leadership role or whether you're representing a client. So they trust you.
Mhm.
And
I
that
had
goes back to all the social media too. People are now like, stop being so filtered and so poised and just be authentic. People want to see the authenticness.
if you look through my YouTube algorithms, Instagram, social media algorithms, I love a good blooper. Because of that. That's the authentic stuff. Like people just you can't contain it. And that's part of being authentic. People want to see the real version of you versus the scripted version of you, which is why I love bloopers so much. Just I love improv so much because it allows people to just really, really be themselves. And if you want to create a version of yourself, people can see it, and sometimes it comes off as inauthentic, like you said right there, versus showing the real you because you're probably okay. That's the thing. Like people want to see that. They want to know who you really are. And that goes back to what you said earlier, Angela, just the same thing of like you get to know everybody immediately. You want to know them for them, not of who they think they want you to look them at. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of, I'm not going to say society, but unfortunately, a lot of people, they are told to sound a certain way, to look a certain way, to feel, you name it, just to do these certain ways rather than being authentic because it's so much better and it's easier just to be yourself. It's probably much more difficult to try to act a certain way when if it's not an act, then it's a natural feeling.
Being authentic also goes back to being able to humble, to be able to say I made a mistake. If you're
Yes.
doing a transaction in the middle of a transaction and you have made a mistake, you forgot a timeline or didn't get something signed, whatever, being able to say, hey, I'm human.
Yep.
We're not robots here, we're humans.
Yeah, the humbleness and the humility goes a really, really long way in that. It kind of I had a conversation over the weekend with somebody, and we were talking about the difference between confidence and cockiness. Cockiness has no humility, has no humbleness for the most part. You could be the best person in the best industry, congratulations. But if you don't show that sense of humility, and have a sense of humbleness for you, it's just it gets lost and people aren't going to see that as authentic. They go hand in hand right there. Be confident, not cocky is what I'll always tell people. Like, because you can have the strong sense of yourself, but that difference between confidence and cockiness is that sense of humbleness and being able to, like you said, admit when you make a mistake. It was hard for me, to do that early on. I've been, I said earlier that I've been managing for 20 plus years. And because I rose, pretty high early on, my humbleness, like it wasn't quite there. I just thought this was like, hey, this is, yeah, all right, 23 years old. Here we go. Yeah, I'm, just top of the pops. But it did take, a good moment of me being knocked on my butt and realizing, oh crap, I messed up. I need to cop to it. I need to, admit that, I was either wrong. I needed help in that. And I think that's part of the authentic and humble experience of it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to
Yes.
go into your office and say, hey, I'm going to put you on speakerphone right now. And
Yes.
I need some help with that. And I think that's one of the best roles that you have as a manager. And so for the agents, we want you to do that. We want you to ask for that because if you're not humble enough to know that you need some help, you want to do everything on your own, it can work, but the odds of that being successful, it's not quite there. And that just slight sense of humbleness will get you over that hump. And Angela, like you gave a perfect example right there, of somebody coming in asking for that. And you yourself, like I said, I've messed up. Everybody on here has messed up, and being able to admit it,
Yeah.
knowing when you're wrong, it's tough, but the more you're able to do it, then it's more authentic, it's more real.
I think everybody on here, if you've even done one transaction, you can admit somewhere where you've made a mistake.
I,
Whether you didn't read the terms that the offer was sent to you or whatever. My most expensive mistake, and I've told every new agent this, was that it was one of my very first listings when I started, and I didn't have a manager that did what we do.
Mhm.
So I learned on my own via the Google machine long before, chat. But the offer came and the box was checked for refrigerators, and I did not see it. So my sellers moved out of state and took two refrigerators with them. So I bought two refrigerators. Yeah, and it was my entire commission check. That was my
Yeah.
very first and only time that the refrigerator has been checked, and I missed it.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't one, it was two.
And refrigerators, if ever, they're not cheap.
And admitting to my husband that I did that was a doozy as
And
well.
that part's probably difficult. Again, that goes back to like it's something difficult. This was in a previous chapter, but it still goes on, now of being authentic in that because you don't want to be inconsistent. If you're inconsistent in your authenticity, it just you waver this line, like you're in this gray area, and you don't want to be in that gray area. So when you told your husband, hey, what was your husband's reaction to that?
He's like, well, can't you get that back from the seller? Well, except that they're in Missouri, one. And two, it was my mistake, not theirs. So they don't know the refrigerator. I do.
Yeah, and that, and that's it to where our brokers, with Mike and Michael, they will, they'll answer every call, they'll respond to each one of these because we've got clients, we've got agents on the other side of the deal that just assume like like your husband like can't why can't you just get it back from them? It's like well because it was our it
That
was
was
on
me.
us for we're not always going to admit mistakes, but sometimes there's times where like, right here, it's this guy. That one was on me. And so admitting that it's sometimes tough. And just getting past that is where that going back to that humbleness of just recognizing
I'll
that
never miss it again.
yeah, exactly. The learning lessons that you have from that, they will always be there. Everybody's going to learn from something. Every transaction,
Yes.
you are going to learn something new from it. You come It's never failed so far in each transaction that I've had and
Everyone is
speaking to the
different.
agents here in my office, and I know we're there too. It's the same way with that. So that's be authentic and be humble. Sandra right there, she's also paid for a refrigerator right now. I'll tell you right now, I'm in a transaction where we argued for two and they're saying they're only going to give one, but my client really wants that second one right there. So like, what's it going to cost? All right,
I'll
well,
buy you one on offer up.
exactly. Oh, my history's there on the phone for it, just to kind of see what it's going to be like. But Best Buy actually has a great deal right now for 3.99.
Oh,
It's
then you get
you
it
save
delivered.
you
You don't
save
even have to pick it up.
$500 on this big old fridge right there. Sale's only good through today, so I got to make the decision today whether or not we're going to have to do it. But it's one of those things to where things happen. Things happen in real estate, and we just have to be ready for it. It changes daily. It changes by client. Not everybody's the same. The quiet ones during a transaction, once it gets to the very end, all of a sudden their voice gets really loud. They want this, 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 this. Oh, well, why hasn't that been done? Well, why didn't you say anything at the beginning of this transaction when we could have had it taken care of? And those are the ones, we have to have patience. We have to listen and observe to their needs, but we also have to ask them of their wants, their needs. Truly understand, especially if you're a buyer's agent, understand their wants, their needs. What are they going to be okay settling for? Do they recognize that, hey, this first home, this doesn't have to be your forever home. This first home is going to get you to that forever
Do the
home.
next one. Hmm.
Exactly. That mindset and that mentality for agents to really, you know, listen and observe to their clients to understand their wants, their needs is something that,
I
we
think with the
stress.
younger generation right now, too, the millennium buyers, they want perfect. They want,
Hmm.
everything upgraded. And so it is becomes incumbent upon us for us to say, like, this is a 2-year deal, or 3 years, and improve the house while you're there, the home while you're there, and then get into something that is that.
Yeah. Just having them understand that it takes some time with it. Just, that's part of the repetition, repetition, repetition. Keep passing that message to them, and hopefully it'll get through. But
Yep.
sometimes it just doesn't. But you'll beat that dead horse until you have to on that. One of the other ones that is on here is number 10 on here. Give people the resources they need to be successful. And, um, you know, speaking about where we are in our company, our brokerage right there, the resources that we have, I think, are second to none. And this is across the board for all the offices between each of the managers, between each of the technology, each of the tech like tools that we have right there, our marketing tools that we have right there. Sabrina is here on this call right now. I, asked to speak with her earlier today, and she reached out immediately. As a marketing director, and there she is. She decided to come on live right there. But we have those tools, we have the resources, and that marketing position. That's one that a lot of us we fought for. We knew that we needed that within this company because it's going to make us that much better. It's going to help us grow because our agents, they want those resources that are there. We've got Moxie, we've got Canva. Having the person to go with that on the tech side, we've got Bob and Mitz on the marketing side. We've got Sabrina who's been going from office to office over the last few months or so. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages that we have in each of these offices are those resources. Whether or not people use
Resources.
them, it's a different story, obviously. I see Sabrina nodding her head as well right now in that. But I mean, Angela, in your office, like the resources that are there resources that you would want to see your agents use a bit more?
Oh yeah, most everything on 21 online. But it goes without saying that whenever somebody calls and says, "How do I get them to reduce their price?" I'm like, "Do you have them on the golden ruler?" No, what is that? Well, let's come on in here and let me show you.
Hmm.
And they're such a simple tool that makes your conversations a lot easier.
It does. Exactly. They can see where they're, who's looking at their property. Has there been any offers for it? No, we already know that
Yeah.
on that because we haven't presented it to them. But that golden rule is an easy tool. All it takes is an email, just and they say, "Yep, sign me up." That's it.
Yeah, and we'll set it up for you. It's not even that difficult. But I think for everybody that I've had that conversation with, they use it afterwards. But it
Yeah.
usually comes from a pain point of them like, I 90 days on the market and nothing. Like,
Hmm.
are they on the golden ruler so they can see why we need to reduce this down?
Yeah. It's going to go a long ways and make a difference. Sabrina, I'm going to ask you to come off mute if you can right there, because I'm going to ask you that kind of that same question. In your marketing role now, in your position, you've been able to see. You've been able to hear from agents, hopefully. You probably want to hear from more, but maybe you don't. Maybe you're getting overwhelmed with it. And I wish that was the case. I hope that's the case because that tells us that people are using your talents for that. But the any tools or resources that you would say or call out that people needed to use a bit more.
Yeah, of course, Canva. I'm a Canva stan. I think everyone that knows me knows that by this point. I wish they would sponsor me or something.
Give it time.
But I push that a lot and for a good reason. Just the amount of projects that can be done on there, aside from just social media and marketing, but the amount of even behind the scenes work that we do. I think on Friday, Angela, was presented with a family that she was going to reach out to and send a letter to. And so she typed up her, verbiage, what she wanted, sent it to me, and I branded it for her really quickly. And I think probably sent it off that day. I know her well enough.
Sure
Uh,
did.
so, there's just so much that can be done with it. It really is a helpful tool. And I'm thankful that Century 21 Corporate invested in that for all of us, because even prior to that, we were pushing it. So that one for sure.
So Canva right there, and hopefully everybody has seen Sabrina on these things. They've gotten an email from her on your email signature. It does give people the ability to book one-on-one time, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's the first option. As soon as you open that link, you can select a time that works best for you. Even aside from that, I'm completely accessible via email, call, text, if that works better for you.
Excellent. So that's one of the resources. That's why I wanted to spotlight you there for a second. You can go off mute. Thanks for jumping on, right,
Thank
or
you,
go
guys.
back to mute. Thanks for jumping back on right there. But those are the resources that are here for us, and that's where we want to see you succeed, which is why, she's got that link tree. She has that in her signature line so that you as agents can succeed. This goes for every single office across the valley right now. If you're in Fresno, you can reach out. If you're in Hanford, you can reach out. If you're in Porterville, you can reach out. If you're in Visalia, you can reach out. She's at each of these offices. And, she reaches out to us like, hey, when can I come to your next meeting? When can I be there? So utilize those resources at your disposal because we want you to. We want to see you guys succeed. That's chapter 16, the 11 leadership principles. Was there anything else from that chapter that you'd wanted to touch on at all, Angela?
No, I would just like to challenge everybody that's listening to figure out today, it's Monday, it's only 9:30 in the morning. What is your one more this week? Are you gonna pass out one more business card? Are you gonna make one more phone call? Are you gonna walk one more mile? Are you gonna get to work one more minute early? What's your one more? And then behind that, figure out if you're stopping because you're tired or because you're done. There's a difference.
There's a huge, huge, huge
Are
difference.
you done? Meaning you checked everything off on your to-do list. I am a to-do list person. I have one every single day, and I literally highlight it. And last week Sabrina was actually in here, and it was my yesterday's to-do list that I didn't get finished. And it was about 10 o'clock. And I go, "Whew, I finished yesterday's to-do list." So it is everything. And I start it every single morning when I'm getting ready for work because that's
Mhm.
when it's quiet. My son gets up a little bit after I do, quite a bit after I do, and my husband's already gone to work. So I have the mental capacity and I leave it on my dresser and as I'm getting ready, I'm like, "Oh, oh, 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 oh." And it comes to work with me, and then I start getting through it right away.
So what I'm hearing right there is the
Consistency.
structure. You want that structure. You want those outlines, the guidelines to prepare yourself for the day, for yesterday, for what's to come. You want to be prepared, and that's a good thing to do. Be prepared. Your clients want to see that you're prepared. If you're going to any presentation and you're not prepared, congratulations, you lost that client. They're going to recognize that, and if you just some people have a way of de-essing their way out of those situations, but your clients don't want to see that. Your clients want to see that you got everything ready to
Here's
go for
before we go on. Here's a real true story from last week.
bring it.
Two girls in this same office, with the same potential seller, which is a former real estate friend or sheriff's department friend of all of ours, because I have
Mhm.
several girls here with me now. Anyhow, the seller reached out to both of them asking about selling his house. One of them picked up the phone and had a phone call conversation. The other one went to the house prepared, even though it is a friend and it is a former coworker that they know very well, and
Mhm.
had an entire listing presentation. And guess who got the listing? And at the time, he did not tell both of them that this is what it is. The one that picked up the phone thought, oh, it's a friend calling me. I got this locked up.
Yep. It's that one that's she went that one more extra mile. Did that one more extra step
That's
right
correct.
there for it. And
That
that
is
goes a
correct.
long way. It makes a difference. I think right now, especially you talked about, the millennial generation, to where just the idea of a phone call or face to face, it's tough. It's tougher for them
Mm-hmm.
versus some of us that are a bit more experienced veterans, and we come from an era of being face to face. Like I want to be in front of a person. What I've always told people is, listen, just put me in a room. Put me in the room. Let's have the conversation. I'm not leaving the room until it's satisfied right there. A text can get lost in translation. People can read a text in so many different ways, just from which is probably why you see in my emails I use too many damn exclamation points. But I don't care. That's my personality. It's how I speak, and I like to text. I like to type how I talk. That's my authentic, my true self in that. But for a lot of people, they'll put a sentence or they'll just do the Siri to type, and it doesn't seem as exciting versus even just a phone call to where you can hear that excitement, that enthusiasm, that passion, that evangelism in somebody's voice. I mean, you can tell when you're on a phone call with somebody if that person is smiling. Like you want to hear. That's one of the things I've told people for forever. If you take a phone call, that person needs to hear you smiling on the other end of that line because they're going to know that you have some passion for what you're doing. It's a big thing. And then if you're even in person for it, then congratulations, you did that extra step. You went there, you got there, and that person is the one who secured and locked it in, right? It's
Absolutely.
just it's going to go there. So that's the 11 leadership principles, or a few of those 11 leadership principles that we focused on. Let's talk about chapter 17. One more degree of equanimity. Equanimity. What a word
So, do
right
you want
there.
to know what chat says that means? I
What
obviously
does Chad say that it means? Let's hear it.
I had to look up the meaning of it, the definition. Equanimity means mental calmness, composure, and emotional balance, especially in difficult situations. It's the ability to stay steady and grounded no matter what's happening around you.
In in real estate, and gosh, as a sheriff's deputy, you probably had to do that. I mean, you had to remain cool, calm under pressure on
Oh,
that.
yeah.
If I would be a terrible surgeon. My hand right there, just from playing the game Operation, I failed every time right there. My collective attitude and my demeanor, yes, I'm, pretty cool, calm, and collected. But that part, all of a sudden, like, I mean, I don't drink coffee, but it would feel like I was a coffee drinker who was doing that. So don't ever trust me in an operating room, please. And if you ever see me there, that something seriously bad has gone wrong to where they're asking me to be the one to operate on that. But staying Staying cool and calm under pressure. That's equanimity. We use that. We talked about it actually, I think, in Mike Allen's book for a minute. So I was kind of happy to see that it's back here of the emotional control that people need to have because it's we talked about this earlier, Angela. Like it's pretty easy to let our emotions take over, and all of a sudden we're popping off. We're speaking before we're thinking.
That's far out of my realm, but I learned how to stay calm, cool, and collected when I was a child because our home was on level 100 at most of the time. So going back to my law enforcement days, I have the ability to calm people down. I if I would walk into a hostile situation, I started talking quiet, slow,
Yeah.
calm, where in a toxic environment, you can even relate this to everything that you do, protests and whatnot. If you start talking calm, slow, people have to stop their noise to be able to listen to what you're trying to say.
Just because you're the loudest does not mean
And you're the smartest, the
exactly.
most detailed, most present, none of it.
It cracks me up just in situations, and I've dealt with that in real estate, and probably a lot of us have with
Yes.
clients, just because they're screaming. And I
Fire,
guarantee
fire,
some of
fire.
you have had to do that with agents too, to where they just try to play bully ball. You
Yeah.
know, they're going to talk over you. And same thing, because they're being so loud, all of a sudden their shoulders, they puff up and they're the most confident person. That's where, again, that confidence, cockiness part of it. But yeah, all of a
It's
sudden
definitely not confidence.
it's not, they're trying to intimidate, and
Yes.
that's where I laugh at those situations. Truly, I really, truly am. I'm a pacifist at heart. I really, really believe in it because to me, just the idea is like, really, like, come on, let's.
What else you got?
Exactly. Like just a lot of it's just like relax. Like there's definitely a way, and it's not that way on it. So just yeah, that loudest person in the room. It's somebody that we all know. It's somebody that we've all dealt with in the past, and with those clients, like you said, you would go in as a sheriff's deputy, and you'd recognize it by bringing the temperature down. The temperature will drop immediately just as soon as like they hear
Immediately.
your tone. That presence makes a difference right there. And if they see your presence as somebody that is going to just, like, okay, sit back. You can scream all you want. And then they get to your voice and it's nice and measured.
Yeah,
And
and that
you're
goes back to
staying,
what we do every day. I mean, if something's going south, you can easily put it on ice and
yeah.
come back to it. And I've told several agents, ice
Mhm.
them, and come back to it. One, when you feel better,
Yeah.
and two, when they have calmed down.
I think that's a really good point right there. I've asked clients to, I know that they're not happy in certain situations. Get away from that. That's
Yep.
it's toxic. You know that. You recognize that, but you want to do your job so well, and you're going to take it as a personal beat, as a personal defeat, because this person, you're doing everything you can for that. And no matter what, that person is still not satisfied. And it goes to where no matter what you do, they're going to remain unsatisfied. And that's just who they are as an
Yep.
individual. So for
We can't make everybody happy. We're
you
humans
can't.
too.
We want to, but there's times that we can't. So if you have that degree of equanimity and you try to get that balance, that calmness, that control over it, it's okay to walk away. Yes, you're not going to earn that commission, that compensation that you were hoping for and that you deserve. But in the long run, it really is going to work. You'll get that back. You'll get that
I
back
was
from
just gonna say
someone
that
else.
usually you let go of the negative and two more come in that are they're going to be a better situation.
It never fails, and you're going to feel just so much healthier in the mind. In the mind, and you really,
None of
really,
us are for everybody.
it's true. It's true, but we've all dealt with that. And,
Hmm.
there's times we're going to get through it. And, just because the deal is working, this person's going to be unsatisfied no matter what.
Yep.
What's crazy is I know of situations to where an agent thought this client just absolutely hated them because everything they did was just not up to snuff. The client made that agent feel like so just down in what they were doing. Transaction finished, and then they get this glowing 5-star review, which it trips you out. But we're always gonna have those in that to where it's just the different personality types for it, and kind of listening and observing again, going back, understanding who your client is, but finding that balance and finding that calmness and remaining under control. We talked about this here at our office last week with Real Satisfied. So you as agents, you guys can go in there. Those reviews, guess what? If you don't want to publish, if you have that client who gives you that review and all right, no, this is just salacious. There's no way. You don't have to approve it. It's okay because something's off with that. Something's wrong with that. But we want to be able to have those clients give us those reviews so that people can see, when they look up your name online, it's a 5-star person because you are a 5-star person. I know that for each of our agents. Angela, you're not bringing anybody into your office who you don't want to be part of that culture. You want somebody who's going to do a great job, who's going to do business the right way. They're going to be relentless in that and it's going to work itself out. But they have to, still remain calm and steady in situations to where it's not always going to work out.
And it doesn't sometimes.
It doesn't. So, I mean, it's one of those things to where, think about that as an agent, if you lost the listing that you currently have right now, it's been on the market for a little bit, but something happened, how are you going to respond? Are you going to respond emotionally? Or are you going to, just suck it up and say, okay, this one didn't work out, but move on to the next one? Because there's always going to be that one more, that next one in that. So it's equanimity is just that. Read that definition one more time of equanimity.
And two, while I'm looking for it, um, following up with that is if you have lost a listing or something to maybe somebody you know or somebody who isn't even you say it's not as good as you are, maybe like look inside and see what you have done. Take that humility and say, what can I do better next time? Again, with the one more, what more can I do?
Yeah.
So it says mental calmness, composure, and emotional balance, especially in difficult situations. It's the ability to stay steady and grounded no matter what's happening around you.
Steady and grounded. And we're always going to be in situations to where we're we're in a market that ebbs and flows. During the winter season, that's whenever, it's that downwards, it's trending downwards. But now, guess what? We're in March, everybody. Everything's going to start coming up from the springtime into the summer right now. So we're going to start going up and that balance.
Do you
That
let the market define you, or do you define what you're doing every day?
Guess what? There's people who do plenty of business in December, in January, and February because everybody else
Absolutely.
is taking that time off. They're like, you know what? I'm going to only be busy during the spring, the summer. That's whenever I'm going to make my business. Well, congratulations. You left it wide open for those ones who are ready to go
And in
in December.
reality, in spring and summer, you probably want to be traveling.
Exactly. Yeah,
So why do
reverse
you
the
want to work
mindset.
that hard?
Yeah, that's it. Reverse that mindset right there and give it to where you are allowed to have more freedom during the summertime. But while you're, on that vacation, be prepared for that phone call, be prepared for that text, because that's when you're going to get busy.
Well, and I've always told agents in here, for me, I want my clients to feel like they are my only client,
Yeah,
but also know that they're not.
correct.
So answering the phone, making the calls back, being present with for them for their time. I have a closing today and my seller just sent me his moving truck. So I will answer him right back.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's just like, let them feel like they are your only client. So you
yeah,
have to be answering the phone.
yeah. No, absolutely. That's chapter 17, everybody. That's the one more degree of equanimity. Any final thoughts on chapter 17, Angela?
No, I would say my notes were, I'm sorry. Production is a reflection of self-image, meaning that agents don't outperform their self-image for long.
Production is a reflection of self-image. I like that. I
A
like that.
part-time agent produces part-time results. A hobby agent produces hobby results, and a top producer, they believe accordingly.
It's you get in what you or you get what you put in.
That's correct.
And it's we want everybody to be invested in themselves. We do these on Mondays, all these
Well, we're
trainings.
investing in them. I mean, all of us as management, Sabrina included, could be doing something else right now.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point to where I enjoy reading these things and having these out. Yeah, exactly, exactly. You're gonna check that one off the list for today. I like it.
I could be checking off my to-do list, but it's how we pour into to our agents for them to, feel like they're to make their own mindset and to feel like they are in the right place doing the right things
Yeah,
and
and
have the right team to go to if they need something.
yeah, and if you miss it, I mean that's why Mitz is right there in the background. He's got this recording right now. We're gonna have this one up on YouTube for everybody to see it later on if you want to come back to it. Mitz, you're on screen here. Talk to us.
Angela, I was just listening to what you just finished with, about the part-time producer, or whatever. We all have to know that we are worthy. You know what I
I
mean? So
love
that's all I
it.
wanted to add.
That's
Hey, you
fantastic,
know what?
Mitch.
That's a great way to end on Thor's hammer right there. That Mitz keeps nearby for it. Angela, final thoughts on chapter 16 and 17 of this book.
No, the two chapters together combined say average starts stops when it's hard, elite act anyway, and the difference is rarely talent. It's one more.
It's one more. It's one more, and that's if you haven't figured it out, everybody, it's
Oh,
the
one
book
more.
is it's right there. It's on the cover. It's on the cover. It's right there. It says the power of one more. So just try
One
that.
more anything. One more anything. It doesn't even have to be real estate. It'll just shift your mind.
It will, and that's what we want you to get out of these. It's just to pump yourself up, to do that one more thing right there. Amy's asking for one more minute. So
Does she have something she wants to say?
no,
We would
that's her one
welcome it.
more. That's her one more. So
We
let's
got one
keep
more minute.
let's keep this going for one more minute. So with that one more minute, then Amy, hey, you're there. I know you're somewhere at the back office right there. What's Tony? Tony did one more thing today on the chat while we were here. Tony reached out to Sabrina to say, hey, I need to schedule that time. So she did the one more right
Good
there
job,
just
Tony.
in this meeting right now. So Tony, great job by you for reaching out and getting that locked in. And that's available for everybody. Jessica's, I see her, she's live right now. She's been sending everybody, that one more compliance tip that we have on a weekly basis. Her YouTube channel right now it has tremendous stuff. So that one more is there for every single one of you. The trainings that we have, all these recordings that we have that are broadcast, we put them on the YouTube, the company Facebook channel that's there because we want to see one more thing from you. And with that,
Say one more time what our SAT word of the day is. Equanimity.
equanimity. Equanimity right there. It's a great word. And that one more took us to 10 o'clock on the dot.
Hmm.
Angela, we did it. We made it to 10 a.m. Great job by you. Great job by everybody for jumping on this call
Thank
with
you
us.
all for getting on.
Yeah,
We really
yeah,
don't want to talk to ourselves, I promise you.
yeah. We can, but we want everybody to jump in on that. So next week, we are going to have our final edition of the book club. It's going to go into chapters 18 and 19. I see Larry Harper on this call right now. Larry, Mitz, put Larry on the screen right now. Pin
No,
him
don't
on
put
the
me on
screen
the
so we
screen.
can see it. He unmuted himself right now. Larry, you are on deck for next week, and we're going to close this one off. And I'm going to also ask everybody, join us for that last one. Larry, you get to be in the spotlight next week for us.
Summarize the whole book.
Looking forward to it. I thought we were ending with those great words that were spoke by Angela. Why bring me into this? We'll
Hey,
find out. See you next week.
no,
I'm
we
looking
wanted
forward
to
to
we wanted
next
to make
week.
sure everybody saw you right there and get you pumped up for next Monday's edition. But I want everybody to join in, join Larry and I as we go through these last couple chapters and finish off this book. We'll talk about those. We'll do a recap. I think the mics are going to jump on as well because we want this to be all encompassing. With two chapters and now with the finale. We hope that everybody took something away from this. So on this, we wanted to get one more person on the screen, which is why Larry, you came on board right there. We made it one more minute after that. It's 10:01. All right, you guys, that is
Thank you
it.
so much.
That is it
Take
for
care.
today. Angela, great job by you. Larry, thanks for jumping on. Sabrina, thanks for jumping on. Really appreciate it, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Have a good day, everybody.